In a world obsessed with productivity, motivation has become a commodity. Scroll through social media and you'll see morning routines, goal-setting apps, and endless motivational quotes urging you to push harder and never quit. But here's the problem. Most of it focuses on external performance, not internal alignment. The truth is, motivation isn't something you find online. It's something you uncover within. Anyone can feel motivated occasionally, an inspiring movie, or when something exciting happens. But those feelings fade quickly. Most people chase what we call extrinsic motivation, the drive to do something for a reward or to avoid punishment. Getting fit to look good on Instagram, working late to impress your boss, staying in a job you hate only because you're scared of being judged for quitting. At first, this kind of motivation might work. It creates urgency, but it's fragile. The moment the reward disappears, or the fear wears off, so does your motivation. Worse, living this way leaves you feeling burned out, empty and disconnected. You may hit goals, but deep down you feel like you're climbing someone else's ladder. True motivation comes from intrinsic sources, the things you do because they're meaningful to you. It's when you work on a project because it excites you, practice a skill because you value growth, help someone because it feels right. This kind of motivation is sustainable, fulfilling, and empowering. It doesn't depend on applause. It thrives in silence. Dopamine is often called the feel-good chemical, but that's actually a misconception. It's not about pleasure. It's about anticipation, the motivation to act. In the classic monkey experiment, a neuroscientist studied how dopamine neurons fire in monkeys. Here's how it went. A monkey is sitting in a lab. A light flashes. A few seconds later, the monkey receives a drop of fruit juice, which it enjoys. At first, the monkey's dopamine spikes when it gets the juice, reward. After several repetitions, the dopamine starts spiking when the light flashes, before the juice comes. Eventually, the anticipation of the reward, light equals signal, triggers dopamine, not the reward itself. And here's the key part. If the light flashes but no juice comes, dopamine actually drops sharply, a kind of disappointment signal. This experiment tells us dopamine is not about the reward itself. It's about predicting and pursuing the reward. It creates drive and desire to act before a reward is even received. It's your brain saying, go get that thing, it might be valuable. So the big insight is, don't wait to feel motivated. Start doing something, even small, and let motivation follow. This turns effort into momentum, and momentum into a self-sustaining habit. That's how highly motivated people stay consistent, not because they're always inspired, but because their brain has learned to crave progress. This creates a positive feedback loop. Start the action. Dopamine is released. Anticipation. You feel motivated to continue. You complete the task or get a reward. More dopamine is released. Your brain says, let's do that again. Over time, this loop helps you build long-term motivation, not just short-term hype. Just like the monkeys, our motivation is driven by anticipation. When we set a goal, like earning money, achieving a dream, or finishing a task, dopamine kicks in to push us toward it. The more we believe something good is coming, the stronger the dopamine response. But here's the twist. If our goals are based only on external rewards, likes, praise, status, we may become dopamine-driven but never satisfied. This creates dopamine loops, constantly chasing the next reward without deeper fulfillment. When your actions align with intrinsic motivation, your values, passions, and curiosity, dopamine still works, but in a healthier, more sustainable way. You feel excited because you care. You take action because it matters to you, not because you're chasing external approval. Lasting motivation doesn't come from pushing, it comes from feeling. Sit with it. Let the goodness fuel you. Motivation isn't just about discipline. It's about who you believe you are. And since the brain is always rewriting your story, you can take control of the narrative to stay inspired, resilient, and focused. Our brain is constantly gathering and integrating information from senses, emotions, memories, and experiences into a coherent story about who we are. This process is called self-narrative construction. It's not fixed, it's fluid, dynamic, and constantly updated based on what we do, how we feel, and how we interpret our past. Now that we understand what intrinsic motivation is, let's explore how to sustain it over the long term. Step 1. Understand your core values. Your core values are your internal compass. They're the principles that matter most to you, whether that's creativity, honesty, freedom, compassion, or growth. If your daily actions align with your values, you'll feel motivated even during hard times. But if you're living out of sync with your values, chasing money when you value freedom, or seeking approval when you value authenticity, you'll always feel like something's missing. Step 2. Shift from outcome to process. Most people set goals like make $100,000, which are outcome-focused. The problem? Outcomes are out of your control and can feel far away. Instead, focus on the process, the daily actions that reflect who you want to be. Instead of, I want to be a writer, say, I write every morning because I love to express ideas. Instead of, I want to be rich, say, I solve problems people care about and I keep learning. When you fall in love with the process, motivation stops being a struggle. It becomes a rhythm. Step 3. Listen to your emotional signals. Many people ignore their emotions thinking they're a distraction from success. But your emotions are data, not noise. Feeling drained? Maybe your work doesn't align with your values. Feeling excited? That's your inner compass pointing towards something meaningful. True motivation often starts as a whisper. It's that spark when you read about a topic you love, or that tug in your chest when you see someone living a life that resonates. Pay attention. Your inner voice knows the way. Step 4. Let go of the audience. So much of modern life is lived for others. We post, perform, and perfect, all for likes, praise, or approval. But you can't stay motivated if you're always living for someone else's applause. Ask yourself, would I still do this if no one saw it? Am I pursuing this to feel proud or to look impressive? The more you detach from external validation, the more space you create for authentic drive. Step 5. Redefine success. Most people are unmotivated not because they're lazy, but because they're chasing a version of success that doesn't belong to them. Society says success is money, status, and prestige. But maybe success for you is deep relationships, creative freedom making an impact. Redefining success is an act of courage, but once you do, your motivation becomes unshakable. In conclusion, true motivation stems from within. When our actions align with our core values, passions, and authentic desires, we create a sustainable cycle of drive and fulfillment. By shifting our focus from fleeting external rewards to a process of growth, self-reflection, and genuine connection with our inner self, we empower ourselves to overcome obstacles and thrive. Embrace the journey, celebrate small victories, and remember that the most enduring motivation is built from the quiet conviction that what you do truly matters. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please remember to subscribe, like, and share.